Hey there! Well, it's now time for the Black Death's turn uh, to play their semifinal against the Rakeland Ravers. Um, the Ravers spent some money and hired a wizard, but aside from that, uh, they were not able to buy anything else. Um, Actually, I'm going to improvise a bit. Uh, and I'm going to talk about uh, a little bit about the second edition because it's the one I like the most, and a lot of people just came to know the game a long time after that, so they're not aware of how Blood Bowl was back in the day, and I do mean back in the day. If I'm not mistaken, I was probably around 16, perhaps even younger than that. Oh boy, it was over 20 years ago. So, uh, there were a lot of changes between the second and third edition. The third edition was basically the time when Games Workshop changed the game from what it was to something resembling very much what we're playing right now. Because back in the day, in the second edition, there were no such things as turnovers. It was really a turn-based strategy game, which played very similar to chess. The difference being that instead of playing one piece and then it would be the opponent's turn, you would play your whole team and then it would be the opponent's turn. So what that meant is that even if you were really unlucky and got some bad rolls, you would still get a chance to to correct the problem. Okay, just a second. I'm going to focus a little bit on this. All right. All right. So there were a lot of different a lot of differences between the two editions. Of course, I talked about specific skills. Oh, there's the first casualty. Well, sadly, the apothecary was there to save him, but that's still 2 points for Duke didn't enter. So, as I was saying, there were a lot of differences, and different races had different skills. Let's reroll this. And you had the Slan team. And if I'm not mistaken, they're not present in the current edition. And although some people have been trying to bring it back, will they succeed? Who knows? But they existed in the second edition, and you also had the werewolf teams, which were made fully of werewolves, and you also had the opportunity to create medleys where you could get several players of different races and just make the team you wanted. Of course, there were drawbacks to doing that, but still you could make pretty much any team you wanted. Wow, that sucked. Well, it wasn't on our side, so I'm not gonna complain. But anyway, as I was saying, oh well. Just a second. Reroll. Crud. Okay, so anyway, um, one other major difference is that back then, um, the game of Blood Bowl was not entirely tied to the Warhammer world. So basically, just give me a second. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, every team had uh, different types of players, like the blitzers, the blockers, the catchers, the throwers, and the linemen. And that was it. So the third edition introduced the Warhammer world type of players, like troll slayers or war dancers, and things like that. So in that way, I think that third edition was very nice. Um, However, one thing I at the time I really had trouble accepting was the damn um, turnover thing. Because back then, you could play your whole turn, and after that, well, basically you could compensate for mistakes that you made, or not necessarily mistakes, but at least bad luck. And the third edition changed that entirely. So I had a lot of difficulty to get into the third edition. Alright, this helps. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the third edition, but I'm kind of a purist, so because I discovered the game with the second edition, I didn't play the third edition that long, and I kind of well, I did my best to just stick with the second edition. But to be fair, second edition was a lot of fun, even though games were very, very long. So that's the one thing that the third edition brought that was quite different from the second edition. Basically, second edition game could last several hours, while if we take a look at the fifth edition, which we're playing right now, well, a game rarely lasts more than 45 minutes. So that's definitely an advantage. Um, After that, oh, we're not really lucky with those rolls, huh? Okay, I'm trying to do two things at the same time, but it's not working very well. I'm not incredibly good at multitasking. So, let's see. Yes. Huh. La vache folle. This is tempting. Oh, let's go. Yep. Okay. So what was I saying? I'm not gonna move Yuna. She's well placed. What am I saying? Not well placed. So I'm gonna bring Fargoner here and move Yuna here. Yeah, now that's better. So, ouch. Well, at least it was only badly hurt. But I'm surprised that the computer doesn't use the lightning bolt more often because it's far more useful than a fireball. So I'm really surprised it did this time. Oh, wow, that was bad. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That's better. Here we go. Come on, reroll. Okay, so la vache folle, Matthew the Rotten. Alright. One thing I really enjoyed in the second edition was that skills had levels. For example, Mighty Blow, which still exists now, had 4 levels, which meant that, for example, ooh, well, that was bad. So let's say a player had Mighty Blow level 4. When the computer, well, not the computer, well, when a player was blocked successfully, blocked or tackled successfully, you had to roll an armor roll. And back then, armor values could go um, as 11, if I'm not mistaken. So, just a second here. So, of course, that was pretty nasty if you had a player with Mighty Blow level 4. So, someone with 10 armor would basically be injured on 7 or more on a 2 dice roll. So, that was pretty nasty. Ah, shucks. And then you would divide your Mighty Blow level and add that to the injury severity. So a Mighty Blow level 4 would add 2 to the injury severity roll. So for example, if you got 10 on those 2 dice, that player would be dead. And that meant really, really bloody games. And it was a lot of fun. Okay. All right. So we're gonna score next turn. And other uh, some other skills had up to 10 levels, like block, dodge, and tackle, if I'm not mistaken. And the player who had the highest skill level would win. For example, if someone with a dodge level 3 tried to dodge out of the tackle zone of someone who had tackle level 4, then the dodging player would have more difficulty to dodge out of there. If the opposite would have happened, then the dodger would